Strategy, the necessity of success. The win comes with plans, but a single win doesn't mean success. Everyone wins sometimes, but the Sigma mindset wins every time. Why? Because they are strategic. They look to the long game and not the quick fix. In this session, we will be going over the aspects of the human psychology that makes for a successful strategist. The do's and the don'ts. This will take as long as it takes, as we must be thorough. No shortcuts, no I give ups. Stay with me and thank me later. Wouldn't it be nice if everyone played fair? If effort always paid off? If respect was returned? If honesty was rewarded instead of used as a weapon against you? Yeah, it would be nice, but that world only exists in the fairy tales they fed you as a child. You were programmed on stories where the good guy wins because he has a pure heart, where villains lose because the universe punishes them. Then you stepped into the real world and discovered something darker. The universe is neutral, and people play by rules nobody told you about. These rules are only dark as long as you hold on to the idea of the ideal world. You tried to live by those fairy tale ideals. You were genuine, you were respectful, you were open, and slowly you realized something brutal. The world is walking all over you. You're not losing because you're weak. You're losing because you're playing a simple game in a complex arena. There is nothing wrong with you. The stories were wrong. The world does not consistently reward the man who deserves it. The world consistently rewards the man who is prepared, strategic, and hard to move. That's what this session is about. This is Sigma Strategist. Win without fighting. Not one-time lucky wins. Not accidental victories. Not moments where the universe briefly smiles at you. I'm talking about wins that stack. Wins that compound. Wins that change your position permanently. Because every win requires effort and a basic plan. But continuous wins, over years, require strategy. Strategy is the bridge between your effort and your outcome. It's what turns random motion into deliberate movement. A Sigma strategist is the man who stays 5 minutes ahead of everyone in the room and refuses to be the one who gets blindsided. He understands not just motivation, but the psychology of the powerful, how they think, how they prepare, how they protect themselves. If you've ever had that feeling at the end of a year where you look back and think, I worked, I tried, I pushed, so why am I still stuck? Then this is for you. Stay with this all the way through, because this is not a hype video. This is not a motivational sugar rush. This is a system. 3 layers. First, you'll understand why your wins don't add up, the pattern that keeps you exhausted but unchanged. Second, you'll learn the 8 aspects that define a strategist, how they observe, control, position, and strike. Third, you'll get a practical protocol, simple rules and lines you can use immediately so you stop leaking power without even noticing. By the end, you won't just feel motivated, you'll feel dangerous in the calm way, the disciplined way, the way that makes you difficult to outplay. And more importantly, you'll finally have language for why life has felt like a rigged game until now. Now let's start with something you already feel, even if you've never put words to it, why your wins don't add up. You've had good weeks, you've had good months, a period where the gym was on point, the money was coming in, the energy was high. Maybe you got the promotion, started the business, pulled off a difficult project, or cut out a toxic person. Those are real wins. You remember specific days where you thought, this is it, I've turned a corner. But then you zoom out and look at the entire year, and it doesn't feel like you've truly moved. In some areas, you might even be worse off. You sit there thinking, the math isn't mathing. I'm putting in effort, but my life doesn't show it. You scroll through your photos, your messages, your bank account, your progress pictures, and it feels like flashes of progress with no real storyline. Here's why. Your wins are scattered, not connected. They don't compound. Imagine a blank sheet of paper. Now spend an hour putting random dots all over it. By the end, the paper is full. It looks busy, but nothing has been written. No sentence, no blueprint, no message. That's what a year of unstructured effort looks like. You feel exhausted. You feel like you've been moving non-stop. But when you pull back, you can't see direction. You can't explain your year in one clear, powerful sentence. This is how most men are living. They work hard inside a structure designed by someone else. A company, a relationship, a social circle, a family dynamic. They chase short-term wins that never add up to long-term positioning. They fight fires all day and call it productivity. They survive the week and call it progress. And then they wonder why 5 years pass and they still feel replaceable. Their life becomes a loop. Get overwhelmed, push hard, crash, recover just enough to do it again. No real change, just cycles. Machiavelli observed something most people refuse to accept. Fortune, the randomness of life, hits everyone. But the prepared are the ones still standing afterward. He wrote in essence that men fail not because fortune is cruel, but because they haven't built defenses in times of calm. In other words, you're not falling behind because life hates you. You're falling behind because you never learned to think like a strategist. You never learned to take your energy, your anger, your ambition, and aim it like a weapon instead of letting it spray in every direction. And a Sigma cannot afford to live like that. A Sigma mindset is already the refusal to stay powerless. It's the decision to stop living as the one who reacts and become the one who designs. But mindset alone isn't enough. You need structure. You need a way of thinking that turns every effort into part of a larger campaign instead of random dots of struggle. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another grind harder speech. You need what Machiavelli gave to princes, a brutal, clear understanding of how power actually works and how to position yourself so that your wins are not accidents, they are consequences. You need to understand that your life is not a collection of days, it's a campaign. This is your first anchor. Say it quietly to yourself. I don't chase wins, I build position. Because the moment you understand that difference, your life stops being random. You stop asking, did I do enough today? And you start asking, did today move the campaign forward? Now let's define the Sigma Strategist. A Sigma Strategist is not necessarily the loudest man in the room. He's not the one performing confidence for attention. Sometimes he's the quiet one in the corner, watching. Sometimes he's in the center. But he is never desperate to be seen. While everyone else is caught up in what is happening right now, he is mapping what happens next. He sees not just the move, but the chain of moves. He's not asking, is this fair? He's asking, if I do this, what does it set up 3 moves from now? While most men get obsessed with being liked, he is obsessed with being effective. While others chase random wins, he builds wins that stack, a reputation that makes certain doors open, skills that make him hard to replace, boundaries that make people think twice before disrespecting him, and habits that make his future self stronger instead of weaker. He treats every interaction as information. Every reaction is data. Every small conflict is an X-ray of the other person's character. This is the psychology of the powerful. They don't just feel situations, they read them. Machiavelli divided men into those who can see what needs to be done and those who only understand when it's too late. The Sigma Strategist is the first type. He doesn't expect the world to play nice. He expects it to be ruthless, so he becomes more precise. Underneath it all is the Sigma mindset, the attitude that refuses defeat, not because life is comfortable, but because you refuse to surrender your will. You might get knocked down, but you don't hand over your decision-making. You look at a roadblock and instead of saying, why me? You say, move! And if it doesn't move, you climb over it. You change the obstacle instead of letting the obstacle change you. You accept that life is conflict, but you choose to fight that conflict as a strategist, not as a panicked soldier. Now we refine that with structure. To make this practical, I'm going to break the Sigma Strategist into 8 key aspects. As you listen, you're not just collecting ideas, you're hunting for weak points. Because a strategist doesn't need to be perfect. He only needs to know where he leaks power and patch the leak. The 8 aspects are 1. Anticipation, seeing 5 minutes ahead. 2. Emotional control, a cold mind under fire. 3. Information management, what you reveal, what you hide. 4. Positioning and leverage, winning without fighting. 5. Continuous refinement, training like a warrior. 6. Calculated aggression, knowing exactly when to strike. 7. Patience and timing, waiting without falling asleep. 8. Alliances and independence, using others without becoming dependent. Now, one important note. Because we're building a series, this is episode 4 of the Sigma Mindset series. Episode 1, Sigma Silence, Stop Bleeding Power Through Pointless Words. Episode 2, Sigma Rebellion, Stop Being Quietly Controlled by Systems and People. Episode 3, Sigma Intelligence, See Patterns and Human Nature Clearly. This episode, Sigma Strategist, turns all of that into a system. It shows you how silence, rebellion, and intelligence fuse into something even more dangerous, strategy. Because we're about to build the strategist. Aspect 1, anticipation, seeing 5 minutes ahead. Most men live like spectators. They watch what happens, react, then complain. A Sigma strategist lives like someone reading the script 1 page ahead. He doesn't wait for chaos to slap him in the face. He looks for the first signs of chaos before anyone else even notices. Machiavelli wrote that political disorders are easy to cure when seen in advance. But if you wait until everyone can see them, they become incurable. Translate that to your life. Problems are cheap when they're small and private. Problems become expensive when they're large and public. The argument that suddenly explodes had small signs weeks earlier. The betrayal that came out of nowhere had micro-betrayals leading up to it. The opportunity that fell into someone else's lap was visible long before. They were prepared while you were distracted. Anticipation is not paranoia. It's disciplined observation. It's asking, if things continue the way they're going, where will this lead? And then actually listening to the answer. It's noticing your coworker's pattern of taking credit and realizing they'll eventually try it with you. It's seeing your partner's growing resentment and understanding that pretending it's just stress is a lie. It's watching your own habits and seeing that if you keep scrolling until 1 a.m., your future will be built on fatigue and half-effort. It's also watching how systems behave, how your company treats people who leave, how your friend group reacts when someone levels up, how your family responds when you set a boundary. All of that is data. All of that is prediction fuel. So how do you build anticipation as a skill? Before any meaningful situation, a meeting, a negotiation, a serious talk, you pause and run a mental rehearsal. Ask 4 questions. What do I want out of this? What do they want out of this? What's the best case outcome and the worst case outcome? What is my move if it starts going toward the worst case? You're not writing a 20-page plan. You're stepping 5 minutes into the future and deciding you will not be surprised. Here's a daily drill. Once per day, think back to something that caught you off guard and ask, what were the early signs I ignored? Don't blame yourself, just list them. Over time, you'll begin to see a terrifying truth. Almost nothing truly comes out of nowhere. And the more you train this, the less life can ambush you. Now lock in the strategist's first vow. I move 5 minutes ahead. Say it once now, so it sticks. Aspect 2, emotional control, a cold mind under fire. Let's be honest. Most of your worst decisions did not come from lack of intelligence. They came from the moment you stopped thinking and started burning. You reacted too fast. You defended yourself when you should have walked away. You ranted when you should have gone silent. You clung when you should have let go. Machiavelli pointed out that men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, and that a leader must learn how not to be good when goodness threatens survival. Applied to you, that means you cannot afford to make decisions purely based on what feels noble in the moment. You must make decisions based on position and outcome, even if your emotions are screaming. A Sigma strategist respects emotion, but he does not obey it. Fear shows up, he notes it. Anger shows up, he notes it. Sadness shows up, he notes it. But the steering wheel stays in his hands. Because most manipulation boils down to one question: can I make him emotional enough that he stops thinking clearly? So you take that weapon away. The simplest power move is the 2-second pause. Before you answer, before you defend, before you explain, you give yourself 2 full seconds of silence. In those 2 seconds, breathe once and ask, does responding this way improve my position, or does it just relieve my discomfort? If it only relieves discomfort, like firing off a long, angry text, over-explaining your boundary, begging someone to understand, you don't do it. You let the discomfort burn through your chest without letting it move your hands or your mouth. Machiavelli observed that people judge more by what they see than what they actually experience. In emotional situations, they don't remember every word. They remember who looked in control. And when you stay calm while others are losing it, your perceived strength multiplies. Here are 3 lines to keep ready. I'm not having this conversation emotionally. That's not how I see it. We're done here, said calmly, followed by silence or exit. Not a fight, a conclusion. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel. It means your feelings report to your mission. You don't deny that you're hurt. You decide not to let hurt dictate your strategy. You don't deny that you're angry. You choose to express anger through action that moves you forward, not explosions that move you backward. From now on, your standard becomes simple. I feel everything. I choose my response. When you live like that, people may still push your buttons, but your buttons stop controlling your life. Aspect 3, information management. What you reveal, what you hide. You've been told that honesty means spilling everything you think and feel to anyone who asks. That's not honesty. That's self-exposure. Machiavelli noted that everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Your power lives in that gap. A Sigma strategist understands information is currency. You don't drop stacks of cash on the street. In the same way, you don't hand out details of your fears, your plans, your income, your insecurities to people who haven't earned access. People ask questions for 2 reasons. Sometimes they care, but often they're collecting leverage. They'll ask about your past relationships, your family, your money, your future plans. Later, those details become pressure points. If you really loved me, you'd do this. You told me you were insecure about that, so that explains why you're acting like this. You said this job means everything to you, so don't complain. A strategist speaks in layers. Strangers get politeness, not depth. Outer circle acquaintances get basic facts, not vulnerabilities. Only a tested inner circle gets access to your real doubts and struggles. And even then, you keep part of the map protected, because revealing all your intentions makes you predictable. And predictable men are easy to trap. So you reverse it. You talk less. You ask more. You let people reveal themselves. Then you watch patterns. Do they gossip about others? They'll gossip about you. Do they make themselves the victim? They'll make you the villain. Do they always explain things so they are right and everyone else is wrong? That's a warning label. Here's a rule. Never give someone information they haven't earned through consistent behavior. Not one good day, not one emotional talk, consistent behavior. When in doubt, share less. My information is valuable. I protect my map. The more you live by that, the less material people have to use against you. Aspect 4, positioning and leverage. Winning without fighting. A lot of men think strength means always confronting, always standing your ground, always going head to head. Machiavelli would call that foolish. He compared a wise ruler to both a lion and a fox. The lion can't protect himself from traps, and the fox can't defend himself from wolves. You need the cunning to avoid traps, and the strength to make threats useless. The Sigma strategist doesn't obsess over arguments. He obsesses over position. Where do I stand in this dynamic? Who has options? Who is replaceable? Who is emotionally dependent? Who isn't? Position comes from three things: exit power, value power, frame power. Exit power means your life is not built on one fragile pillar. You don't put all emotional needs on one person. You don't put all self-worth into one job. You don't put all identity into one group. Never give a single person the ability to collapse your self-respect. Value power means being hard to replace. Real skills, real reliability. Being the man who solves problems others avoid. Not for approval, for leverage. Frame power is the most subtle. The frame is the story that explains what's happening. If they control the story, they control you. You're overreacting. You're selfish for wanting that. You're the problem here. If you accept their story, you start defending yourself inside it. That's where you lose. A strategist calmly replaces the frame. I'm not overreacting. I'm recognizing a pattern. Wanting respect isn't selfish. I don't accept being painted as the problem because I set a boundary. And then he stops talking. Because the argument you refuse to join is often the one you win. You don't have to attend every emotional war you're invited to. Sometimes your greatest leverage is silence plus distance. If you must take a stand, do it cleanly, decisively, and once. Set the boundary, enforce it, move forward. The next time they pull the rope, I drop it. That's the moment the power balance shifts. Aspect 5, continuous refinement, training like a warrior. Strategy without refinement becomes outdated. The world shifts, people change, you change, and if you don't review and adjust, you slowly become the man who says, "That's just how I am," and uses that sentence as permission to stay weak. The Sigma Strategist treats his life like an ongoing campaign. Every week is a small battle. Every month is a phase. Every year is a campaign. Keep what's useful, cut what isn't, adjust to the reality in front of you. 3 systems: the morning scan, the edge hour, and the weekly war room. The morning scan is 5 minutes. What strengthens my body today? What sharpens my mind today? What protects my money today? Who deserves my energy today? And what is the single most important move for my mission today? You're telling yourself, we are not drifting, we are directing. The edge hour is 1 hour each day where everything else turns off. No scrolling, no multitasking. This is where you build one advantage: skill, business, study, conditioning. Over months, this 1 hour separates you from almost everyone. The weekly war room is where you sit with reality. No excuses. What worked? What failed? What must change next week? Where did I lose control? Where did I anticipate well? Where did I leak information? Where did I position poorly? Then choose one adjustment, not 10, 1. Small adjustments applied ruthlessly compound like interest. Most men repeat the same year 5 times and call it experience. The Sigma Strategist refuses that fate. I don't hope I improve, I review, I refine. When you live like that, time stops being your enemy and starts becoming your ally. Aspect 6, calculated aggression, knowing exactly when to strike. So far, we've talked about restraint, but don't confuse restraint with passivity. Machiavelli argued that fortune favors boldness, and that sometimes it's better to be impetuous than cautious. Because fortune is like a river. It rewards those who build channels for it and attack it when it's low. Calculated aggression means you conserve energy on ego wars, but when it's time to act, you act hard and clear. You don't threaten endlessly. You don't hint. You move. You leave the toxic situation instead of debating for a year. You launch the project instead of researching forever. You cut off the manipulative friend instead of having the same talk 10 times. Too much fox and you become a clever coward. Too much lion and you die in the first trap. So how do you know when to strike? 3 questions. Has this pattern repeated? Have my boundaries been clearly communicated? Will waiting make my position worse? If yes, it's no longer time for analysis. it's time for action. Calculated aggression is not rage, it's precision. You don't swing at everything. You save your strike for the move that changes the board. Now lock it in, patient in observation, decisive in action. That line alone separates you from most of the world. Aspect 7, patience and timing, waiting without falling asleep. Strategy isn't just fast moves, it's knowing when to hold. Your life has seasons. Some are for attack, some are for preparation. Patience is not doing nothing. Patience is choosing preparation over impulsive action. Ask yourself, is this the right move or just the earliest move? Most men sabotage their future by taking the earliest move. The first relationship that gives attention, the first job that feels better than the last, the first opportunity that looks like escape. A strategist builds quietly in the background. While others complain nothing is happening, he is stacking options, skills, savings, strength, connections. So when the right door opens, he walks through with power, not desperation. Patience also means allowing people to reveal themselves fully. Give them rope, let the pattern form, then decide. But timing also means knowing when enough evidence has built up. At that point, patience is no longer noble. It becomes self-betrayal. I'm not slow, I'm deliberate. Patience is only powerful when it's pointed at a purpose. Aspect 8, alliances and independence. Using others without becoming dependent. No strategist wins completely alone. Even Machiavelli understood the value of allies. His warning was specific. Don't rely on forces you don't control. In life, use alliances, don't outsource your backbone. Build independent strength with selective alliances. Independent strength means if everyone left tomorrow, you would be wounded, but not destroyed. Your self-respect would stand. Your ability to earn, think, and move forward would remain. Selective alliances means choosing people who prove loyalty, competence, and discretion. Ask, when things got hard, did they run or stay? When I wasn't useful, did they still show up? When I succeeded, did they celebrate or resent? Invest more in people who pass those tests and quietly pull away from those who fail. Access levels, outer wall, inner circle, core. I build allies. I never build dependence. That's how you stay connected without becoming owned. Now we put it all together. But before we do, I want to give you something practical. A strategist doesn't just understand principles. He speaks in moves. And one of the fastest ways to gain power is to have calm, precise lines ready so you don't improvise emotionally. Here are the strategist's no-fail lines. Work lines. I'll consider it and get back to you. I'm not available for that. Let's put that in writing. I'm happy to discuss solutions, not blame. I'm not committing to that timeline. Relationship lines. I'm not arguing. I'm setting a boundary. That doesn't work for me. I'm not explaining this twice. I hear you. My answer is still no. If that's what you need, we're not compatible. Social lines. I don't do disrespect disguised as jokes. I'm not entertaining that conversation. You're free to see it that way. I'm leaving now. We can talk when this is calm. These are not magic spells. They're anchors. They stop you from collapsing into old patterns when pressure hits. Now I'm going to add something you need in a strategist episode, a real situation. Because systems stick better when they attach to a story. In my experience, the moment a man starts becoming strategic, the world tests him. Not with a dramatic villain, with small pressure. I had a friend who was the reliable guy, always available, always helpful, always saying yes because he thought that's what strong meant, being useful. At first, it looked like respect. People praised him. Managers leaned on him. Friends called him the good one. But slowly, the praise turned into expectation, and the expectation turned into entitlement. They stopped asking. They started assuming. He'd get messages late at night. Need this done by morning. He'd get guilt-tripped. Come on, You're the only one who can handle it. He gets subtle punishment when he said no, coldness, sarcasm, being left out. And one day he said something that should scare you. He said, "I'm exhausted, and somehow I'm still not winning." That's the scattered dots. So we rebuilt his approach using the strategist principles. Not aggressively, not emotionally, strategically. Anticipation, emotional control, information management, positioning, refinement, calculated aggression, patience, alliances. And the turning point was simple. He didn't become loud, he became hard to move. And once you become hard to move, people either respect you or they leave. Either outcome is a win. Now let's seal this episode. The world is not a fairy tale. It's closer to what Machiavelli described, a place where people are driven by fear, ambition, envy, and self-interest. That doesn't mean everyone is evil. It means everyone is human. If you don't understand that, you will keep being shocked by predictable behavior. The Sigma Strategist refuses to stay shocked. He decides he will no longer be the man who always says, "I didn't see it coming." He trains himself to move 5 minutes ahead instead of 5 steps behind. He anticipates. He controls his emotions. He manages information. He positions himself with leverage. He refines constantly. He strikes when it changes the board. He uses patience and timing. He builds alliances while staying independent. Put all of that together, and you get a man who doesn't need the world to be fair. He doesn't need every roll of the dice to go his way. Because even when fortune turns, he has systems and structure that keep him standing. Now I'm going to handle 3 objections, because a strategist anticipates resistance. Objection 1, isn't this cold? No, it's controlled. Cold is cruelty. Control is discipline. You're not trying to harm people. You're refusing to be controlled by them. Objection 2, won't this make me lonely? It might make you quieter, but it will also remove fake closeness, the closeness that exists only when you're useful. Real allies don't leave when you gain boundaries. They respect you more. Objection 3, what if they escalate when I don't react? They might. That's often how you know you were dealing with control, not connection. A strategist expects escalation, and he doesn't meet escalation with emotion. He meets it with consequence. If you're still listening right now, you're already rare. Most people can't sit with something this long without running back to distraction. So mark this moment, not for anyone else, for you. Say it quietly. I play chess with my life. Remember the path so far. Sigma Silence taught you to stop leaking power through words. Sigma Rebellion taught you to break quiet control systems. Sigma Intelligence taught you to see patterns and motives most people miss. Sigma Strategist gave you structure, anticipation, control, positioning, refinement, timing, and decisive action. And now we bridge, because the next layer after strategy is perception. The next upload in this series will be Sigma Observer. In that episode, we'll go deeper into reading rooms, decoding tone shifts, catching micro signals, and spotting the subtle moves people make when they're hiding something. Not so you become paranoid, so you become precise. Because once you can observe at that level, and you combine it with what you've learned today, you become rare. A man who is not easy to fool, not easy to move, not easy to break. A man who doesn't just survive in an unfair world, but quietly bends it in his favor, one strategic move at a time. Once again, subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, comment to show your support, and I will see you in the next session.